Watch what happens when I create an action in Hive. On the left hand side, I've got Hive open, and on the right hand side, I've got my Google Drive open. So let's go to Hive, and I'm just going to create a new action. I'm going to call it create a Hive to Google Drive YouTube video. Perfect. I'm going to go enter, and as you can see, the action has been successfully created in Hive. If you go on the right hand side, you can see that just now a folder has been created which is associated to this specific task. It has the action ID as well as the name of that specific action, which is awesome. But it doesn't end there. What's also cool is I'm going to open up this action over here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to attachments. So here are the attachments. I'm going to upload files. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an attachment to this specific action, and something cool is going to happen. What's going to happen is that the attachment that is associated to this specific action is then going to be linked into this specific folder within my Google Drive. And so you can see that the attachment has been uploaded successfully. If I go this side and I click over there, you can see successfully that the picture is there. This was the attachment. If I open it up, you'll see that this attachment matches the one which is in Hive. Great stuff. This automation solves the big problem of sorting files and manually creating folders. I built this automation using Hive Automate, and I'm going to show you exactly how you can do the same. Hi, my name is Peter from Connex Digital. We are an automations and integrations company that specializes in Hive Automate integrations as well as data asset management. If you're interested in working with us, please be sure to book a free discovery call with us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. If you want more information, you can check the links down below in the description of this video. Without further ado, let me show you how you can build this Hive Automate integration. Alright, let's get into it. First things first, it's important to acknowledge that here at Connex, we also provide data asset management solutions. You know, this workflow that I'll be showing you today can act as a lightweight DAM. We can help you build data asset management solutions, even if you have an enterprise environment. We have experience in Kanto, in Binder, you name it. If you're interested, just reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to assist you. So let me not get ahead of myself. Let's focus on the two workflows for today. So today, I'm just going to show you two recipes that exist within Hive. I'm going to show you this first one over here, and I'll be taking you through that. And then second of all, I'll also be taking you through this recipe. So let's go to the first one. The first one is called New Actions, New Folder. So essentially, what is this workflow all about? Well, when we create a new action/task in Hive, then what's going to happen is that a folder is going to be created which is linked to it. And so this is what this workflow is all about. So let's get into it. Let's look at the first action. The first action is new updated action in Hive. So this workflow is going to be triggered when a new action takes place in a specific project in Hive. That's what's happening over here. So it's waiting to see when a task is created in a specific project, and then it's going to trigger the workflow. So you can see here, trigger events is new action. Perfect stuff. Then once that has been triggered, then it's going to go to the next action. So the next action is wait for a specified length of time. If I select that, you can see that the time interval is 10 seconds. The reason for that is because we want to give the Hive system time in order to be able to retrieve all the details with regards to this action. The problem is when we don't give it enough time, then we're not going to be able to retrieve all the details of this specific action. And so that's why we're giving it a time interval of 10 seconds, and then we'll give it time to retrieve all the details that exist. Awesome stuff. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out over here, and then we go to the third step. So the third step is get details of a specific action in Hive. So after the 10 seconds have passed, now we're able to get all the necessary details of that specific action. And this is what this action is actually doing. You can see the object is action, and then it says action ID, and then we're getting from step 1 the ID. Great stuff. So it's wanting us to provide an action ID. And then if we look here under help, it says retrieve the details of a specific action via its Hive ID. Select the object type to retrieve the details of then provide its action ID. And so that's what we did over here. Let me go out over here. Once that's done, then we go to the fourth step, which is create a folder in Google Drive. And so now we're creating a folder in Google Drive. And what is the name of the folder? Well, we're taking the action ID, which is from step 3, and then we're saying dash, and then we're getting the title also from step number 3. So that's exactly what you saw in the demo. You saw the exact action ID of that specific action linked also with the name of that action. Once that's done, then we go update action in Hive. So you can see that the object is action, and the action ID over here, we're getting this and mapping it from step number 1. You can also see under help it says update action in Hive, select the object type to update, then provide data for updating the action. And so if I scroll all the way to the bottom here, you can see that there's custom fields. And so as the label, I put your drive ID, and what is the value? The value is the ID coming from step number 4. So we're actually getting the ID from the Google Drive, and we're putting it here as the value so that it can be optimized for the custom field. That's what we are doing over here. And then once we're done with that, then we have successfully completed this specific recipe. This workflow is done. Now it's time for me to show you the second workflow. Now the second workflow is over here. And so the name of this is called New Attachments in Hive Upload to Google Drive. And so this is very unique because what are we doing? The first workflow was, remember, we are creating an action, and then once the action is created, then a specific folder is created in Google Drive, which is associated to the action. Now what we're doing here is that when we add an attachment to that specific action in Hive, then that attachment is then going to be automatically synced within Google Drive in that specific folder. So that's what I love about this workflow, or these two workflows rather. It's very smooth and it's very, very valuable. So let's look at the second workflow. So what's happening here? The first action is attachments via HTTP webhook. What is happening here is that we are awaiting for that attachment to be added in the action. And so once it is added, then the webhook is going to be fired. Then the trigger is going to be activated. Great. And you can see down here is that there's a payload schema with a few required items. So once that's done, then we can exit over here, and then we go to the second step. Now the second action is get attachments in Hive. And so what are we doing here? What we're doing is that now we want to get the attachments from that webhook which was fired. So you can see here under path, we are actually utilizing the webhook ID from step 1. We're mapping it over there, and we're also putting it into the link of actually Hive to retrieve the attachments, which is great. And you can see that the method that we're doing this is a get method, and then we can see that the response type is JSON response and all the other details when it comes to the response body, which is awesome. Now once we're done with that and we get the attachments, then we go to step number 3. So what we're doing here is that we have an input list, and then we're mapping the array which comes from step number 2. You can also see that the repeat mode is 1 item at a time. And so it says when set to batch of items, the input list is repeated in batches of a specified size. Great stuff. So we're just making sure that it's 1 item at a time, and then we're also inserting the array which comes from step number 2. Once we're done with that, then we go to the next action. And essentially, in a nutshell, this means that we only want to get the last attachments that are added to the action. We want to get the last updated attachment that comes from the action. This is what this action is all about. Once you're done with this action, then we go to the second last step, which is get file from URL. And so now we're getting the URL of that specific attachment, and we're mapping it from step number 3. So we're putting it here as a URL so that we can actually get that attachment. And once we get the attachment, then we're preparing it to be uploaded to the Google Drive folder. So under here where it says file contents, you can see that we've mapped file context that came from step number 5, and that is from the URL. And then we need to make sure that it has a file name. And then last but not least, we have the parent folder. And so we're just making sure that the attachment that we're getting is then being added to the correct Google Drive folder. So it's important that we get the right URL and webhook from the attachment, and we also have the correct Google Drive folder ID. And once we have that, then we'll be able to then put the attachment in the correct Google Drive folder. Once we're done with that, I'm just going to close over there, and then the second workflow has been successfully completed. Now you know how to build powerful Hive Automate integrations. If you're interested and you want us to build these workflows for you, then we'll be more than happy to do that for you. Just make sure that you book a free discovery call with us. If you want more information, please check the links down below in the description of this video. If you want more insights and you want to check us out and you want to see what we're up to, then you can visit our website, which is connex.digital. If you like this video, please be sure to give us a thumbs up and also comment down below what actually stood out for you. Don't forget to watch all the other videos that are part of our YouTube channel and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.